Rustaveli Avenue for Independence Day. I'm just walking down the street and it is swarming with people. The people behind me are not the swarms. Those are just a few casual folk. If you look, you'll see in a moment how many people are coming. Lots of insanity. You can hear these plastic horns going off, flags of both the Georgian Republic and the EU, interestingly enough. They want to join the European Union. I'm not going to make any political comment on that. It's a desire of some of the people here. But, yeah, food to eat. Lots of people selling trinkets. This is their chance. I just had one of my local homeless ladies. Well, she's not homeless. She's a beggar, but she's nice. Stopped me and tried to get money off me, and it was just like, she's in the wrong part of town. Normally, I give her something when I'm up near where I live, but she's down here where the fish are able to be caught. So let's go. I do have another reason for taking this journey today. I've missed some of the Independence Days, but this is the first time in about 4 years, so why not?
So I decided to walk down Rustaveli Avenue, and the first thing I noticed, of course, were these strips hanging from across the street. Georgians do this quite well, especially around Christmas time, New Year's time. And this one I'd never seen before. So you have the colors of the Georgian flag, red in the middle, and every now and then there'd be a cross piece to represent the cross. And then white, of course, on either side. It provided an unusual roof effect, which I liked. So, of course, I'm walking by the vendors and the food stalls, just getting a flavor of the place. One thing I noticed that was different from when I did this in 2019 was that in 2019, there were no stands in the middle of the street like this. And so they had blocked it all off and put them there. And a lot of these stands also will inhabit, on the weekends, a zone down between April 9th Park and the Dry Bridge. And of course, one thing I've noticed about, certainly not only Georgian, but so many places now, and I did a little bit of research on this, is these different kind of crafts that people sell these days are mainly there for impulse buys and decoration. They're not there once upon a time, back during the arts and crafts movement, spearheaded by William Morris about 130 or 40 years ago. These crafts fairs were about selling useful things, crafts that people made. At that time, they were already starting to think about the machine-made object and what effect it was having upon human consumption. And so they decided to try to get back to something on a human scale. But I noticed Georgia obviously didn't have these kind of crafts fairs during the Soviet era, so this had to be something that they picked up from the West. And I could be in a crafts fair in California or Alaska or New York City, and it just got me to thinking. Meanwhile, occasionally you would find things like this. This is kind of a cool airplane. I don't know my airplanes very well, so I'll just leave it there. But it was, people like to pause around those things and get their photos taken. These gold chairs, I saw them in different places, and I guess they were old wooden chairs that people had painted gold. But sometimes just walking down the street like this, you just pick up the atmosphere, and it was pleasant enough. I have no complaints. Unfortunately, I can never take part in the crafts fair because there's never any. It's almost all things that a woman might buy, but not that a man might buy. Not that that's a hard, fast rule, but generally. Or things for children. But then again, that's often something a woman might buy. And again, more of these gold chairs and tables. People stopping and snacking and having lunch. This was very crowded. There were thousands upon thousands of people here. Rustaveli Square is around, I guess, 2 kilometers long. And that was a woman giving, from what I could understand, political ideas. So yeah, that's not bad. But I didn't see any food that really jumped out at me and said, Byrne, do this. Meanwhile, little kids singing for some sort of contest, parents putting their kids into different devices, like these weird ribbons. Yeah, a lot for the children, which is good. Very little for someone like me, that is to say, a man, an older man. Little to attract my attention. The oldest it seemed to get was for teenagers to play basketball. Now, I had been here in 2019, a similar kind of vibe, although, like I said, all the stands weren't running down the street. There were stands off on either side. Nico Pirosmani. And if there's one Georgian artist you should know the name of, it's Nikos Pirosmani. But I decided not to go any further down because, like I say, I enjoy the vibe, but it's not my kind of vibe. That is to say, it's nothing I can actually do to take part in. Although this caused me some odd thoughts. Why does Georgia adopt, the Joker, Captain America, these kinds of things, and they're trying to get kids to paint those on their faces? But had I walked further down, no doubt I would have come to Liberty Square, Tbilisi Moedani, and seen tanks and such. Now, what was interesting is back in 2019, when there was a lot more room on the streets, there wasn't a specific parade, but a friend of mine, Georgian, had these puppets, large life-size parade puppets, and I was really impressed by those. By the way, the sounds you hear in the background are not related to the puppets. There's someone else doing something further down the street. Since I haven't shown these puppets anywhere else, this just seems like a good time to do it, and maybe Georgian and his parade puppets showed up again. Meanwhile, here's footage from the kids crawling around the tanks and such. There were a lot of military things down in Liberty Square, which once you've seen that kind of thing, you don't really need to see it over and over. But then I decided to stop at April 9th Park, which is right in the middle of Rustaveli Avenue, and walk down. Now, this actually really got my juices going, believe it or not. Just flowers for sale. It was like a flower fair. And this struck me as being much more interesting than just the kind of craftsy type things that people sell in those little booths up above on the parade or the Rustaveli Avenue area. So I was just kind of fascinated by this and decided to just walk down. Now, I have an ulterior motive here. I'm not simply strolling around. I might not have even gotten out if a friend of mine hadn't called me and told me he had a book for me to buy. But these were awfully tempting. But since I had something I had to do, and so I was on my way to do it. But color, yes. And lots of kids out, of course. This guy attracted my attention on a kind of a puppet level. Although he's not a puppet, he's kind of acting like one in a way. And he's pretending to play some old musical device and singing with an old crooner ditty. But yeah, I gave him a few lari and thanked him. And then this is the second level down on April 9th Park. And this caught my attention. I really like these old Soviet mosaics in the water, which are kind of left to just be dusty in the winter, but once they get going, the colors are really vibrant. And of course, the kids love to play in these. One of my problems with the new Vake Park is they've got all this these new waterways, but they don't have a way for the kids to get to it, which has already caused some problems. But yeah, I like the water, the kids in it, great scene, and I like the red right there. Soviet tile mosaics were really a big deal back in the Soviet era, and there's a whole book of them. Okay, get that dog out of there. Come on, boy. You can do it. You can do it. 1, 2, 3. Come on. Up. Yeah. And dogs are everywhere. I have no idea whether that's someone's dog or just one of the feral dogs that are all castrated or fixed and roaming the streets that everyone just feeds on the streets. Although I've noticed since the Russians have arrived by the bushels, a lot more of them have been adopted as home pets, which is more of a thing in Russia than it is here. And I'm trying to rack my brains for who that statue is. I didn't stop and look at the time. I know who it is. I can feel it, but it's just slipping my mind right now. Okay, so I'm about to turn the camera around and look down that street. Just about a block is the dry bridge, which was formerly a waterway, and on the cement bulkhead you can see someone selling books there on my way. The dry bridge is a great outdoor yard sale, flea market, bazaar for books and old stuff. And this used to be water, and now they've turned it into this part of the highway, and that was done, I believe, back in the Soviet era, which is why they call this the dry bridge. But on the other side of the dry bridge, before you get to the actual river, there are vendors for sale. So here's someone tempting me with vinyl albums, but I'm not going to do it. I'll wait until my vinyl record collection gets here, which you can help me with by subscribing to the channel, and more importantly, by sending a contribution. Look below in the description. And today it's not super full, and I think that the reason for that is because there's, a lot of activity not too far away on Rustaveli Avenue. Nevertheless, there are actually quite a few people roaming around here looking for deals, but I'm looking for a friend of mine, Tomas, and he is a book seller. More vinyl records to tempt me. But you can buy all sorts of things here. I have made another video from before the time when they redesigned this area. And maybe I'll put a link to it here. So you can go look at my wandering around the full dry bridge zone. This is just a piece of it here. And you never know what you're going to find there. And there's Tomas. He's waving at me.
I'm taking a video. You're going to be in a video.
Hello.
I want people to come see you.
How are you?
I'm good. Let me come over here. I want to get a picture of you with the books. So now you're going to be in the... This is Chemo Megobody. Tomas. Yes, Tomas. Yeah, every country it does it slightly differently. But what kind of books do you have? Tell the people for my channel in case they come here.
Yeah, okay. Mostly about Georgia, but not only. So.
And in what languages?
Most languages: English, French, German, Georgian, Russian, of course, more.
Okay. Very good.
Italian, Spanish, I don't know, different books.
Yeah.
On Georgia, most.
So if someone comes here,
Yeah.
they should come see you because you're
Yes,
here
but
any
not
day
only
when it's a
books.
sunny day.
Posters,
Posters. Yeah, I got a great, my great
postcard.
Idi Ishmotri poster from you,
yeah.
and come and see it. Great film,
Yes.
but the original Soviet poster.
Yes.
And so he has much more than you see here. This is
Just
just
display copies, most.
this is just for display, and he's my personal book dealer.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you come to Tbilisi, come see Tamaz, and he will set you up.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Say, tell them in Georgian.
Madluba.
Anything.
Madluba. Kakav zandebolets.
And Tamaz is my book dealer. It's certainly not the only place I buy books from, but he'll often leave me messages on my phone and tell me, Byrne, I have a book for you about Georgia. It's nice. And I decide to walk across the river and catch the 3:59 bus back up to Vake. It was overcast, but it was very warm, and every now and then you'd feel a little sprinkle of rain, and in the afternoon we did get a little bit more rain. And off in the distance you see the Mother of Georgia statue.